At a family cookout, my brother tapped his glass and stated, "To the perpetual latecomer, who's always asking for cash and still desperate to look vital." My parents chuckled. I picked up my glass and announced, "To the latecomer who just blocked the funds that were covering your mortgage." The quiet after that retort was stunning. And what followed? Emotional hook. First 10 seconds. Have you ever loved someone so much that you let them steal from you? Not just money, but your peace, your self-respect? I used to think I did. I used to think that was just what family did. But then one day, I saw my name, my own signature, forged on a document that drained my life savings, and everything changed. My entire family watched as I stood there, utterly betrayed. What the hell happened next? My name's Carter. I'm 31, and for most of my adult life, I've been a relief pitcher, which basically means I lived out of a duffel bag, waiting for a phone call that could change everything or nothing. I'm the middle kid, you know? The one who learned to carry ice packs and family secrets. If you've ever crashed on a bus, elbow in your glove, heart in your throat, then you know my life. I'm the guy who always shows up early. Gates open. I'm already there. Need a spot start? I'll throw until my shoulder screams. My brother, Mason, he'd always joke, "My job is catching lucky breaks." He'd say it like I just ordered mine off a menu. And my parents? They never quite saw baseball as a career. To them, it was just a hobby I accidentally monetized. I was the quiet one, the reliable one, the one who always picked up the tab. The day it all cracked, it started so simply. A backyard barbecue at my parents' place. You know the drill. Plastic tables, paper plates, my dad's old radio hissing out classic rock. My mom had her bowls lined up like trophies, potato salad, coleslaw, her foolproof casserole that always split into two weird textures. Cousins everywhere, kids chalking up the driveway, a wiffle ball rolling under the hydrangeas. I told myself it was just an afternoon. Eat a burger. Sign a few caps for the neighbor kids. Nod along to some story about someone's boat. Smile. Leave. Then Mason clinked his beer bottle with a fork. "Attention," he boomed, his voice bright, his eyes locked on me. "A toast," he said, "to the one who always shows up late, borrowing money, and still trying to look important." Laughter rippled through the yard. Not loud, boisterous laughter. Worse, it was that soft, easy kind, the kind people use when they've heard the line rehearsed 100 times. My mom covered her mouth like she'd been caught off guard by a sneeze. My dad stared down at the grill as if reading its secrets. My sister, Tara, became intensely interested in a chip, like it held all the answers. I felt the heat from the grill, and then a different kind of heat, burning up my neck. Breathe, I told myself. That's the trick they teach you in relief pitching. Small breath in, a longer breath out. Slow your heartbeat, or it'll run you ragged. I lifted my plastic cup, tapped it with my finger. My voice, when it came out, sounded like I'd peeled it off ice. "To the late one," I said, "who just changed his mind about covering anyone's mortgage this month." Silence. Not dramatic, not TV-ready silence. Just real. The kind that sucks the air right out of a yard. A kid near the swing set froze mid-arch, letting the chain creak. Somewhere, a dog shook its collar, then went quiet. My mom's smile didn't just fade. It dropped clean off her face like it remembered gravity. My dad turned a burger that absolutely did not need turning. Mason just cocked his head, his smug expression tightening into something else entirely. I didn't say another word. I just let the quiet hang there, felt it press against my chest, then pass right through me, like wind through a dugout tunnel. Baseball looks glamorous from the seats, right? It isn't. It's 2 a.m. bus rides to towns where the stadium lights hum like giant insects. It's bullpen benches that reek of wet leather and sunflower seeds. It's waiting for your name on a lineup card and pretending your worth isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. I got drafted out of junior college, late. Nothing flashy. I wasn't the kid with the billboard arm. I was the one who could throw strikes when the infield needed a bailout. I climbed slow. Winter ball in Mexico. Summers in independent leagues. A broken finger. A miracle phone call. A cup of coffee in the big leagues. Then back down. Then up again. That carousel. Through all of it, I sent money home. Not every month, not at first. Just when it really mattered. And it always mattered. Tara, younger than me, going to nursing school. Mom crying into a dish towel because tuition deadlines don't care if your car sounds like a blender. Dad's knee. Surgery. He'd delayed it for so long because time is money, which in our house meant delay it until someone else can't stand it anymore. And then there was Mason, the oldest, the charmer, the deal-maker who'd pitch grand ideas and never stick around for the cleanup. His landscaping business morphed into a food truck, then into consulting. The invoices? Gorgeous. The bank balance? Not so much. They'd all tell me, "Carter, you're the only one who can help right now." And right now stretched into seasons. We built a family habit out of my direct deposits. "Baby, nobody else has your opportunities," Mom would coo, her voice sweet as honey, like she was offering a cookie. "God blessed you with talent," my dad would add. He didn't bless our mortgage company with patience. He'd do the quiet thing, a sigh by the window, an envelope promising payback, a speech about how we raised you. It's a circle. Deals with Mason were the absolute worst. He'd text, "Short-term float for payroll, bro, investors are in next week." Or, "Missed this deadline, but I'll roll you in on the upside." I'd wire the money, telling myself I was investing in family. I kept a notes app on my phone, a whole list of promised payback dates that read like a schedule of imaginary holidays. When I finally saw my first real major league check, I cried in the parking lot under a yellow light that made everything look bruised. I could breathe. I could actually buy a couch without counting the springs in my head. 2 months later, I was buying Tara's books, patching Dad's deductible, and loaning Mason another chunk he called bridge money. I kept saying yes, because that's what I knew. Baseball is a job where you keep moving because if you stop, the doubt catches up. Family felt like that too. Say yes before the guilt catches you. I learned to compartmentalize on the mound. Tunnel vision, one pitch. Off the mound. Zelle. Venmo. Bank. Transfer. Between seasons, I rented a small one-bedroom near the training complex and bought a cheap kettle I pretended was my thing. I'd stand there, steaming oatmeal, my phone buzzing. "Hey Carter, quick question. Can you, Carter? Carter, just for a week." I told myself it was temporary. Mason's business would hit big, and I'd be paid back. Dad's physical therapy would end, and the pressure would ease. Mom would pick up more hours at the school cafeteria. The tide would turn. Tara would graduate and stand on her own. The tide did turn, but not in the direction I expected. Tara passed her boards. My parents bragged about our nurse. The family group chat exploded with pictures of a stethoscope and a cake. I dropped a heart emoji and felt a happiness I hadn't felt in years. Then she sent me a private text. "I'll pay you back. Not all at once, but I will." I believed her because I knew she meant it. Then Mason announced an engagement party with centerpieces that looked like they came with their own zip codes. He gave a speech about next chapters and a new family brand. When the check came, he patted his pockets, acting like a magician. "Forgot my wallet," he whispered, his eyes on me. I paid it. Again. After that, the asks changed shape. They weren't just emergencies anymore. They were expectations. "Carter, you'll cover the deposit, and we'll handle the rest." "Carter, could you co-sign? It's just a formality." "Carter, the truck's under your credit for now. Just till." I started tracking every single dollar. Not to make them feel bad. To keep myself honest. A pitcher's brain likes numbers. Counts, velocity, spin rate. I built a spreadsheet and filled it like a scorebook. It read like a story, one I really didn't want to know the ending of. Then came the day. I checked one of my accounts, and there it was, a withdrawal I absolutely did not make. A joint emergency fund, opened with Dad for house repairs, never used, suddenly blinking with minus signs. I stared at that line item until my eyes burned. The memo field said, "Mortgage Mason." The signature trail? My father's. And the cosigner box? Forged. My name. Mine. I wanted to call a cop and a therapist and my 8-year-old self all at once. Instead, I called my bank. I froze the account. I requested copies of everything. And I waited. I told no one. Not yet. I went to the gym and threw into a net until my shoulders screamed for real. I reminded myself of breath control. Asterisk in. Out. Long exhale. Asterisk, then the barbecue invite hit the family chat like a slow pitch. "Sunday. Come eat and celebrate us being all together for once." Grill emojis and fireworks, like our group text was a parade. I almost said no. Then I thought about the stack of papers on my desk, my name bent into a shape I didn't recognize. I showed up, and when Mason clinked his glass again, I heard myself speak, clearly and steadily. "To the late one," I said, who just canceled the transfer covering your mortgage. And the silence, it did what silence does. It told me the truth. My mom broke first. Carter, she said, her smile too tight. Don't make family business into yard talk. Family business? I asked, my voice holding steady. You mean the account I opened with Dad for emergencies? The one that paid Mason's mortgage 3 months in a row without my consent. My dad turned off the grill. Not just the gas. The whole thing. Like he could power down the conversation itself. Son, he said, using that word they always use when they want your obedience, timing. It is about timing, I countered. Like how the payment goes out on the 15th at 9:01 a.m., which is exactly when the adjustable rate spikes. Like how the signature on the authorization looks a lot like my name, written by someone's left hand. I looked at him. Whose hand was it? Nobody moved. Even the flies went quiet. Mason laughed. That fake, friendly laugh. Wow, this is dramatic. We're talking about a couple of months. I was waiting on a client. You forged my name, I said out loud, because hearing it in the air gives it weight. You used my credit to hold up your house, and you told yourself it was fine because you figured I'd say yes if you asked. You just skipped the asking. It's still family, my mom said, her voice soft but sharp, like a razor. If one person has, we all have. I looked at her, really looked at her. I've had for a long time. You've all had me. My dad set the spatula down like it weighed a ton. We would have paid you back. When? I asked. Pick a date. Any date. He didn't. Tara stood then. She's 5 feet 4 inches, but stronger than most of the men I've played alongside. She put a hand on my arm. Carter, she whispered, sit down. They're not going to hear you today. No, I said, and my voice surprised me because it wasn't a shout. It was steady, firm. They're going to hear me today. I pulled out my phone and opened that notes app. I read, not because I needed the numbers, but because my nerves needed an anchor. Since year 1, I began, I've sent home $142,300. A cousin dropped a fork. I covered Tara's tuition because I love her, and she's paid me back $500 a month, every month, since she started working. Tara's eyes were wet. I paid Dad's surgery deductible in full. I bought tires. I paid 2 surprise tax bills. I cleared 3 of Mason's short-term loans that somehow stretched into seasons. And as of last week, I discovered $6,750 taken from a joint account by a signature that was not mine. Okay, Mason said, throwing his hands up. We get it. You're the hero. You want applause. No, I said. I want boundaries. My mom scoffed. Don't use therapy words to punish your family. I put my cup down so my hand would stop shaking. I'm not your bank anymore. I'm not your guarantor, your safety net, or your default payment method. The transfers are done. The cosigns are gone. The account, I looked at my father, is closed. Carter, Dad said, his voice low, a warning. You don't talk to me like that in my house. I'm talking to you like a man, in any house, I said. Stop touching my name. For a second, I thought Mason would take a swing. He didn't. He did worse. He smirked at everyone else, like he wanted them on his team. Look at this, he said loudly. Big league guy thinks his little stats make him better than us. Who got you started, man? Who took you to your first tryout? Who paid for lessons when you were 10? Our parents did. I countered, looking him dead in the eye. You owe that word. Oh. It rolled around the yard like a bad pitch. I owe respect, I said. I owe visits when I can and calls when I can't, and love even when I'm tired. I don't owe fraud. He flinched at the word. Good. I let it hang. Apologize, my mom commanded. To your brother, for humiliating him. I looked at Mason. I'll apologize when you walk up to me with a repayment plan, not a new idea. His jaw clicked. That was my favorite sound of the day, after the silence. Fine, he snarled. Cut us off. See how that feels when you need something. I nodded slowly. I already tested it, I said. Feels like breathing. Then I took my keys out of my pocket, felt the metal bite my palm. I turned, walked past the kids, past the chalk that said home, with an arrow toward the door, and left the yard to the smell of a grill slowly going cold. I expected fallout. I didn't expect the speed. By the time I hit the highway, my phone was a storm. The group chat. Wow. Overreaction. Embarrassed us on purpose. We gave you everything. Private messages from Dad. 2 calls, no voicemail. Mom. 8 texts, each with a different tone, like she was flipping radio stations. Guilty. Angry, pleading, practical. Mason, memes, then threats disguised as jokes, then a screenshot of a Zillow listing with "will be on the street, hero." I turned off notifications and drove to the bullpen field. Not my team's field, the public one behind a high school where nobody recognizes a pro unless you tell them. I threw until each breath came clean, until the sound of ball on mitt replaced the echoes of the afternoon. That night, I wrote 3 emails. One to my bank's fraud department, attaching the documents they'd asked for, confirming the account freeze. One to my father, subject line, account closed. Do not attempt access. It was polite, final, and had the word attorney in it, which isn't a magic spell, but it made my hand stop shaking. And one to Mason with a simple line: do not use my name. Do not ask for money. Do not contact me about money. I included a screenshot of a calendar with a phone meeting I'd booked with a lawyer. Then I slept badly, but I slept. And crucially, I slept without the weight of tomorrow's transfer in my chest. The morning brought the second wave. My mother showed up at my apartment, unannounced, like the old days when she'd pop by with a casserole and offer running commentary on my laundry. "Carter," she called through the chain, "open the door. This is ridiculous." "It's not a good time," I said. "This is your family," she insisted. "We don't do ultimatums." "We do when you force my hand," I replied. "Mom, I love you. Sit on the bench by the elevator. I'll talk." "I'm not letting you in." Her face did a new thing then. Not anger. Evaluation. The way she looks at cantaloupes at the grocery store. She sat. We talked. And for once, I didn't smooth it over. "I know I raised a good heart," she said. "Don't let pride ruin that." "Pride didn't sign my name." I shot back. "You did, or Dad did, or Mason did." "Pride is me pretending that's okay because I hate conflict. I'm done pretending." She tried tears. She tried silence. She tried switching to logistics. "We'll refinance. We'll sell something. We'll make a plan." I told her to make a plan with the people who created the problem. I told her I'd help with information, not money. I gave her a list: county assistance forms, mortgage forbearance options, the number for a credit counselor. She stared at it like I'd handed her instructions in a language she refused to learn. "I am not beneath asking for help," I told her. "I'm just done asking me." She left without hugging me. That hurt more than the barbecue. Tara called that night. She didn't clear her throat or soften her voice like she usually does when she's talking to our mother through me. She just said, "I know you're right." She paused. "And I'm a little behind on my repayment to you because I took on overtime and the schedule got weird. I'll catch up this month." Then she said, "You don't owe me like that." "I do," I said. She paused again. "No, you don't," she corrected softly. "Not because you demand it. Because I respect it." Then she told me something I hadn't planned for. "I'm moving out of Mom and Dad's. Found a place closer to the hospital. They'll make it a whole thing. I need you to be my emergency contact, not my landlord." I said yes so fast it made both of us laugh. The family chat went quiet the next day, which sounds like a blessing, but it felt like a storm you couldn't see. I went to the stadium. I did my lifting. I threw a bullpen session that just clicked. The way a pitch sometimes clicks after months of nudges. On the drive home, Mason called. I answered because sometimes you have to stare at the thing that scares you. "What do you want?" I asked. "You ruined me," he said. "I didn't make you copy my name," I replied calmly. "I didn't make you lean on me like a habit. I'm offering you rehab." "Rehab looks like what?" he scoffed. "Rehab looks like you calling the bank yourself. It looks like you selling the truck you love more than your budget. It looks like a job, with a schedule, and health insurance." "You're hilarious," he sneered. "You think you're better because you throw a ball?" "I think I'm better than what I was," I said. "That's enough." He hung up. A week later, Dad texted me 2 words I did not expect. "I'm sorry." There was a picture attached, a scanned letter from the bank, acknowledging the fraud claim and the closure of the joint account. His signature sat next to a box that said, "I acknowledge misuse." Under it, mine, printed correctly, no curves faked. I didn't reply for an hour because I didn't trust my impulse, which was to drive over and hug him and forget he'd been part of all this. I waited until the hour felt like an adult decision. Then I wrote, "Thank you. It matters." I added a line. "Next time, talk to me." He didn't respond. Later, Tara told me he'd gone quiet in the house. Quiet can be a weapon. It can also be a step. My mother kept calling. Then she switched to letters, which felt cinematic until you read them and realized a letter can carry the same manipulations as a text. just in cursive. One said, "Family is not transactional." Another said, "You'll feel guilty when we're gone." Another had a recipe card for the casserole, with a note, "You'll miss this one day." I kept them all. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, our team went on a road trip. Planes, hotels, ice buckets, the usual. In a city where the stadium sat in the skyline like a jawline, my manager came and sat next to me in the bullpen. "Heard you're dealing with some family stuff," he said. He's not a prying guy. He's the human version of a ground ball. Calm, doable, gets you out of the inning. I said. "Not my business," he continued. "But the next call I make isn't about your arm. It's about your head. You available?" I laughed. A real laugh. "I'm learning," I said. He nodded like that was the answer he'd hoped for. "Good," he said. "Because you're on in the eighth." I warmed up. The gate opened. The mound felt like a place I earned. The catcher called for a slider. I threw it like it could cut through anything. It did. After the game, I checked my phone. A text from Tara. A picture of a key on her palm. Captioned, "My place." A text from Mom. A picture of the empty casserole dish with "finally made it right" written in a loop. No apology. Just a loop. I put my phone down and stared at the hotel ceiling. I felt something I hadn't felt since I was 19, throwing in a summer league with nothing to lose. I felt like my life was mine. There's a little coffee shop near the stadium that smells like toasted almonds and fresh tape. The morning after a homestand, I sit by the window with ice on my shoulder and a notebook that's seen too many stadium tunnels. I don't write poetry. I write numbers and sentences that keep me honest. Today, I wrote, "Boundaries are boring until they save your life." I used to think love equaled yes. Yes to emergencies. Yes to poor planning. Yes to the guilt that claws at you when you try to say no, and your mother's voice turns your stomach into a knot. I don't believe that anymore. Love can be a no that keeps you honest. Here's what changed and what didn't. I still send Tara money sometimes, but it's a gift she doesn't expect. She pays me back more often than I accept it. We text about night shifts and bad coffee and the good kind of tired. When she calls me from a supply closet to say, "I told Mom I'm not her go-between anymore," I feel taller. My dad shows up to day games now and sits high where the sun hits the last row. He doesn't text me about money. He texts me about pitch selection. That 0-2 fastball up. Nice. He says more with those 4 words than he did in a decade of size. I take it. My mother calls less. When she does, it's awkward, like 2 people trying to move a couch through a narrow door. We bump. We also adjust angles. She brings up holidays. I tell her my schedule. She asks if I'm eating enough. I tell her the truth. She hasn't said the words, "I'm sorry." I stopped waiting for them. Sometimes you accept the smaller truth. She changed her actions. She signed nothing with my name. That is its own sentence. And Mason? He found a job. Not a brand. Not a launch. Just an actual job where he clocks in and someone else signs his check. He hates it. He also texts me proof of his 2-month streak of on-time mortgage payments, like a kid bringing home a sticker chart. He hasn't paid me back everything. He probably won't. I accepted that debt was the cost of my learning curve. What I demanded, and got, is the interest called respect. The family group chat still exists. It talks about the weather, and my aunt's knee, and Tara's new scrubs, and an old cousin's baby. When someone makes a joke about my big league money, I type, "Boundaries still in place," and add a smiley face. The chat moves on. Finally, I stopped apologizing for my schedule, for my success, for my no. I'm done explaining why a man with a job is allowed to keep what he earns. I chill my arm. I call my sister. I send my mother a picture of the casserole I learned to make myself, with a caption, "It finally didn't split." She sends back a heart. Progress, not perfection. When I think about that barbecue, about the clink of a bottle and the soft laugh that filled the yard, I don't feel rage anymore. I feel clarity. I was a relief pitcher in a family that wanted an ATM. I became a man who knows he's allowed to close the gate. So, if you want the play-by-play, here it is. My brother clinked a glass to humiliate me. My parents laughed. I lifted my drink, and I chose myself. I canceled the draft on my dignity. The silence after that toast wasn't just beautiful. It was honest. It was the first inning of a new game, where the person on the mound is me, throwing what I mean, not what keeps the peace. And the moral? It's simple. I don't let anyone sign my name but me. I don't run on guilt. I run on breath. In, out, long exhale. Then I go throw something with bite, and walk off the field knowing I didn't give away the only thing that ever made me valuable. My say, I thought love was covering everyone's bills. I know now love is covering your own and letting grown adults learn how to stand. I'm Carter. I pitch. I show up. I say no. And finally, I live for more than the next transfer. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family? How did it turn out? Tell me what you think in the comments. I really want to hear your stories.